Morning, friends. We're just waiting for a minute for Achin to come. He said he's coming in a minute. That's the only reason for the delay. Thank you. Just come. Anish. You can sit there. You can sit next. So, good morning, friends, and welcome to this edition of The Quest. Today, we have a very special edition of The Quest. We have guests who have come from close to the Indo-Nepal border in a town called Roxol, Dr. Prabhu and Dr. Blessy, who will be sharing a bit of their life stories, their journey with us. And we pray that it will be a blessing to us. So I'll request Achin to kindly come forward and we all stand up for a word of prayer before we get into the session.
പിതാവിനും പുത്രനും പരിശുദ്ധനും സ്തുതി ആദ്യമുതൽ നീക്കം തന്നെ ആമേൻ. സ്വർഗസ്ഥ പിതാവാം ദൈവമേ, ഒരു പുതിയ വ്യാഴാഴ്ചയുടെ അങ്ങ് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ദാനമായി തന്നു. സംഭവബഹുലമായ ഒരാഴ്ചയുടെ കടന്നു പോയപ്പോഴും ദൈവം ഞങ്ങളുടെയും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിനെയും ഞങ്ങളുടെ കുടുംബാംഗങ്ങളെയും ഞങ്ങൾക്കുള്ളതിനെയും ഞങ്ങളുടെ വീഴ്ചനെയും കാത്തു പരിപാലിച്ചു. നന്ദി. ഇന്ന് എന്തെങ്കിലും പുതിയ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഞങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുവാൻ പോകുന്നത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഹൃദയത്തിൽ ടച്ച് ചെയ്യുവാൻ സഹായിക്കണമേ. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഡോക്ടർ പ്രഭുവിനെയും ഡോക്ടർ ബ്ലസ്സിയെയും അങ്ങ് അനുഗ്രഹിക്കണം. അവർ സംസാരിക്കുവാൻ പോകുന്നത് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് അവരുടെ ജീവിതം, മറ്റുള്ളവർക്ക് വേണ്ടി, മിഷന് വേണ്ടി ചെയ്ത പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളെപ്പറ്റി ചിലതൊക്കെ ഞങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ അത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഹൃദയത്തിൽ ടച്ച് ചെയ്യുവാനും അതനുസരിച്ച് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ജീവിതത്തെ ക്രമീകരിക്കുവാനും ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അതിലെങ്ങനെ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം, ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്ത് കൊടുക്കുവാൻ സാധിക്കും എന്നുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെപ്പറ്റി ഇന്നൊരു തീരുമാനമെടുത്തിട്ട് ഇവിടെ നിന്നിറങ്ങുവാൻ ദൈവം ഞങ്ങളെ സഹായിക്കണമെന്ന് പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുന്നു. വന്നു ചേർന്ന എല്ലാവരെയും അനുഗ്രഹിക്കണം. വരാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നവരെ എത്രയും വേഗം കൂട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടുവന്നാട്ടെ. പ്രാർത്ഥന കേട്ടതിനായ സ്തോത്രം. ഞങ്ങളുടെ കർത്താവും ഞങ്ങളുടെ രക്ഷിതാവുമായ യേശു ക്രിസ്തുവിൻ്റെ വിലയേറിയ നാമത്തിൽ തന്നെ ആമേൻ. പ്ലീസ് ബി സീറ്റഡ്.
So good morning to everyone. I want to just say a word of introduction about the speakers for today, Dr. Prabhu Joseph and Dr. Blessy. Dr. Prabhu comes from Karnataka, Bangalore, and he's a graduate of the Belgaum Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College. And after his graduation, he studied in CMC Vellore for his Diploma Orthopedics, MS Orthopedics, as well as a fellowship in spine surgery, a specialty qualification which he did there. But for over 25 years, he's been associated with this mission hospital in Bihar called Duncan Hospital. And he's been working there with his family. And currently, he holds the leadership role in that particular institution and also is a regional director of some of the other hospitals of the Emmanuel Hospital Association. Blessy is a graduate of CMC Vellore. She did her undergraduate training as well as a postgraduate training in pediatrics at the Christian Medical College, Vellore. And Blessy was a young lady who had a heart set on going to work in the US after her graduation, but God very strangely directed her path very differently through some experiences she had while working in Uttar Pradesh in a mission hospital called the Kachua Christian Hospital. And Blessy and Prabhu have been a huge blessing for the people of North Bihar and South Nepal, who are the main catchment area who come and work, who come to the Duncan Hospital in Roxol. Many people have not heard of this place called Roxol. Maybe in the SHP circles, many of the students know. But once I remember I went for a conference in Amrita, they put me in the international group. They thought Roxol is some foreign country or something. No? So many of us don't hear about Roxol. Actually, it comes from the English word rascal, the land of the rascals. That's what they say. The not so good things are talked about in Roxol. And anyway, it's just an interesting aside. So I want to also acknowledge that this weekend at the Christian Medical College in Vellore, Dr. Prabhu and Blessy, as being alumni of the Christian Medical College, were awarded the College Motto Award, which is given for people who serve selflessly and fulfill the motto, not to be ministered unto, but to minister. And so they were honored with the College Motto Award from the CMC. And it's our privilege to have them over here the very next week to come and share their part of their life journeys with us in the hope that some of us will be stimulated, encouraged to attempt to take the road less traveled. Thank you, and over to Blessy and Prabhu. And I'll request Subin and to moderate the session after that, after their presentation.
Good morning, seniors, my teachers, friends, colleagues, students, the principal. Thank you so much for this giving me and Blessy my photograph was on the flyer, but I think my journey is incomplete without my better half. So Blessy will also be sharing something. I just want to thank you all for this opportunity, giving me this time, and for you all taking this precious time to come and be over here. When Dr. Abel asked me what I want to talk about, I just thought people find my journey very unique or different, going in another direction. So I thought I'll talk about that. Let's talk about the road less traveled. I remember this poem we read in school by Robert Frost, where he pauses at a route and tries to take the road that was less traveled. And he ends by saying, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference to me. And I want to just share about that, the differences that I have experienced by walking on a road that's different from the road that most of us take. I bring you greetings from my family. This is me. Blessy is a pediatrician who works with me at Raxol. My daughter Stuti, she's in grade 9. She's studying in a residential school in Mussoorie at the Woodstock School. She's been there since last year. And my son Stephen, he's still sleeping, so he couldn't make it. He's in 5th grade. Thank you, the Believers Medical College family. I think over the years, the relationship between your institution and EHA as a whole, and especially with the Duncan, has grown a lot. Thanks in huge part to Dr. Philip for bridging the two institutions. And you have done a great assistance to us, I would say. Because even now as we speak, me and another orthopedic colleague of mine, Dr. Blesso, are here. But Dr. Jobin is taking care of the orthopedic work. That's because you have been able to spare him. And in the past, the obstetric department has sent their postgraduates. You send your medical students. Many of your senior faculty have visited us as SHP facilitators. And I think that's a very beautiful thing that you do, taking time out to come and see medical work or relate to medical work in another sphere of our country. And I think the students have been blessed, and we have been blessed. Today I see so many familiar faces of friends. We have had meals together, we have shared so much together. I see so many students who have come home, or we have spent time with them, and I feel as if I'm part of your family. So thank you once again for this relationship that has grown over the years, and it has been a mutual blessing to both of us. Thank you so much for that. You have also helped many of the other EHA hospitals, not just the Duncan Hospital, and I actually represent the northern hospitals also. So I want to thank you all for that also. And I want to talk about this road less traveled. We often see passages like this, routes like this, ways that we see in our life. You know, this is very metaphorical. But in our life, we see ways that we could take, which would take us into unknown territory, difficult territory, complex places. And we often wonder, should we go along that route? And very often we just go along with the crowd, you know. I mean, the picture, I think, speaks for itself. We live this race, you know, in our lives. Not just, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm out of this rat race. I'm also a rat. We end up working, competing, we fighting, climbing over each other. And that's most of our lives, not just medical fraternity, I'm talking about most of us, our lives are like a race, you know. And we tend to run with the rest of the crowd. We tend to go along this huge road where everyone is going, and very few choose to stop and pause and say that, what am I doing? You know, I see this another route like this. No one's going on that way. Why not I go along that way? Everyone wants to go, and I say that as an example I want to take as a NEET situation. You know, we have thousands and lakhs of graduates in this country with medical degrees, but none of them are using it to help people. What are they doing? They're sitting in coaching centers, they're sitting in big halls, they're memorizing facts which are absolutely useless. They're memorizing the length of some organ, some width of some organ, some genomic sequence which has absolutely no relevance to clinical practice. That is the situation of our country today. We have lakhs of graduates sitting in halls, memorizing facts that are of no use, and they end up in specialities which they probably don't even know what they're entering into because they haven't worked. And that's, I think, the ultimate result of our this race that we are trying to lead, you know, graduation, PG, and things like that. So I want to talk. I'm not saying I'm not in this. My life also ends up like this. Sometimes we work and we get involved in work. Work becomes our race, and I'm not exempt from this in any way. I just want to talk about I want to make this a personal talk about why I chose to do what I did, and then hoping that through that, you know, you could see why I went in this direction, went and worked in Bihar. So I'm from a regular family. I'm not from Agra, I'm from Bangalore. My dad, mom, and sister, we lived in Bangalore. We're a very small middle class family. My mother was a teacher, but she became a homemaker because we couldn't afford a maid. And it was just my dad's salary in a private company that took care of our education in Bangalore. Dad focused a lot on my education, my and my sisters. That's the most valuable thing that he gave us. He never gave us a house or a car, but he gave us my education. And he put me through medical college. And I was desperately wanting to study in CMC Vellore. That was my dream. From the 7th standard, I wanted to study in CMC Vellore. I dreamt about Vellore, I thought about Vellore, but as fate would have it, I didn't even qualify for the interview. But I'd studied so well that I got into, my CET rank was very good, and I got a merit seat in JN Medical College, Belgaum. It's very close to Goa. It's about 150 kilometers from Goa. Now it's a deemed university, but in those days I got in there on a merit seat. And in that college, I have put a lot of photographs. These are not actually my classmates. These are actually people who belong to a small Christian fellowship in that hospital. So it was in that Christian fellowship, among other people. And this picture has dentists and nurses and pharmacists and doctors. And I found God. I found Jesus in a very personal way. I'm from a Christian family, but I thought being a Christian is just, you know, be a good person, do good, pray, go to church. But in Belgaum, I understood that being a Christian means giving your life to Jesus and believing that his death on the cross was the reason I am free today. So that became very personal. God became personal. I fell in love with God. And it was at that time that in my mind, I just had a thought that if I have to be a Christian doctor, I have to go and be in a mission hospital. I've never been to these conferences, or I've never been to mission trips. I've never met seniors from mission hospitals in my MBBS. But all I knew was that yes, one day I will go to a mission hospital. Initially I thought, let me finish PG, let me get married, then I will go. But I ended up in the rat race. I went home, I tried to do some coaching, and I went mad because I'm not a person who can sit and study. So I got a letter from a friend who was working in Champa, in Chhattisgarh. He said, Prabhu, in those days we had letters. He said, Prabhu, I'm doing LSCS, cesarean section. So I was like, how are you doing cesarean section? You're just an MBBS graduate. And I was like, okay, if this guy is doing that, I want to work. So I was very much attracted. I went to Vellore. I met a lot of people who had worked in missions. You know, they had worked in various mission hospitals for 2 years, 3 years, and they were very cool about it. So I saw a different community of people who had actually worked, and it didn't make a difference to them. And I said, whoa, okay, so you can also be like this. And that's the time I thought, why not work? And I told my parents, they were very upset. They didn't want to send me to North India. I didn't tell them Bihar. I said North India. They were not happy. But they realized that I was wasting my time. And by working in the in a mission hospital, I told them, see, I could get PG if I get sponsored. So that encouraged them to think about it. And I also wanted to study in CMC, so I wanted the sponsorship. I wanted to work to taste missions. What is it? What is it that is there in a mission hospital? And so I found myself on a train, in a sleeper coach to Bihar. I landed up in Raxaul in 2003, me and a friend, Vijay. You can see him in this picture. So we landed up in Raxaul, and the next 2 years was life-changing for me. In Raxaul, I saw poverty that is unbelievable. When I joined, the doctors told me, see, next week you'll be doing a cesarean. After that, you'll be intubating, you'll be putting chest tubes. I just laughed. The maximum I done was an episiotomy in my internship. How will I do a cesarean section? Fair enough, within a week or two, I was doing cesarean sections. By the end of 2 years, I had done about 100, 150 cesareans. Most of them were complex, rupture uteruses, placenta previa, abruptions. My surgeon, who's from CMC Vellore, his funda was see one, do one, teach one. So he showed me how to do a DU perf repair Next, I did one with his assistance. And after that, he let me do 15, 20 DU perf, omental patch repairs, all on my own. So here I was with an MBBS degree doing duodenal perf repairs. I'm taking out bladder stones. When my surgeon was on leave, I actually did a resection anastomosis. In those days, we don't do ileostomies and colostomies because patients would, it was psychologically too much for them. So we used to do a primary anastomosis on pretty unhealthy bowel. And as surgeons, you know what happens when you, but that was what we used to do. And when he was on leave, I actually did a resection anastomosis on a lady with multiple ileal perforations. She survived without a ileal leak. She had an abdominal dehiscence, that's all. She survived and she went home healed. And that made a huge impact on my life. There was me who thought that my degree was useless, sitting at home studying. I thought my degree was useless. People were asking me, what are you doing with your life? And here I come to this place where people, that lady I operated on, I told her, I'm not a surgeon. Why don't you go to the nearest town? She said, I can't go. I don't have the money. I don't have the ability. I just can't go. And I knew she was on supports. If I'd sent her, she would have died on the way. So I realized that my MBBS degree was far more valuable in this place than anywhere else in this country. I was doing stuff that my friends who were doing general surgery PG hadn't even done or even assisted, and here I was doing surgery, I was putting chest tubes, I was intubating babies, I was managing MI, and I was managing OP poisoning. The works, what a general doctor would do in a place. And my surgeon actually told me, you're as good as a third call in Vellore. So my self-esteem was at a very high. And I saw this community, they were working together, they were living together, they were worshipping together. And that picture is in the bottom left corner is the hospital staff having Christmas lunch. That made a huge impact on me. How beautiful. The doctor, the nurse, the managing director, the watchman, the guard, the chaplain, everybody is having lunch together. For me, that was a perfect image of God's community, a family of God. And I saw poverty there, and I found a community that lived together. For me, and I questioned myself, why not? And this was me actually doing a pylolithotomy. Imagine an MBBS guy, Dr. Raji Mukka. He said, come start. I incised the skin, and then he told me, go ahead. Finally, he made me do the incision on the renal pelvis and take out a stone. Those days, we didn't have percutaneous ability to do percutaneous nephrolithostomies. So I did this, and that was me doing a cesarean section. So I saw the ability that a person had in that place, and I asked myself, why not? Shall I take this jump? Here is a beautiful community. Why not? I was not financially well off. By then my mom had developed renal failure. My dad had retired. We were a middle class family. I don't even have my own house. But the call was tremendous. It was loud. It was clear. You have to do something. You have to be a part of this. You have to get involved in this work. And there was this huge battle between what the world would do and what would I do. So I took a huge U-turn. I decided in my mind, okay, Lord, I'm going to answer your call, and I'm going to hold on to that call. And I was able to, avoid relation. As a young person, you're offered marriage alliances. And the toughest part is saying no to an alliance that would give you your own private hospital, or a free ticket abroad, or a green card, or a wealthy alliance. It was so. It gave me this decision that I took gave me the ability to say no to certain marriage alliances, career moves, so many things. And I was able to get out of that rat race. I told myself, it's okay. All my friends have done PG. Here I'm just an MBBS graduate. It's okay. God will bless you. It doesn't mean that just because you haven't done PG, you're a loser. My family were upset. My friends, they used to ridicule me. There was always this fear. What if I miss out? Finance, marriage, PG, my career. And recently I learned this word from a young doctor from Patna Medical Colleges. I asked him, why don't you come and work with me? So he said, sir, FOMO. I said, what is FOMO? He said, fear of missing out. So I also had that fear of missing out. My friends had already finished their MCH by the time I got into PG. They had already built their own nursing homes. They were well established. So if I had the fear of missing out, I would never have taken this road. And lastly, I feel we all live in a shame and honor culture. We take a lot of pride in what other people think about us. oh, he's a great doctor, he rides a Mercedes Benz, you know. So for us, the projection of honor, of success is very important to us. And very often we avoid things that would bring us so-called shame, or rather lack of respect, I would say. So these are all the challenges that I had, and we all have, when we want to especially do something that God has called us to do. And I took a huge U-turn in my life, and it was very difficult. It was not easy. I just basically locked myself away from the people who ridiculed me. People who ridiculed me, I stopped associating with them. Family members who objected or teased me, I just blocked them out of my life. I only related to people who would encourage me. People who would say, great Prabhu, we are with you. You do what you want to do. We will pray for you. We will be with you. And God blessed me, you know. The guy who wanted to do my MBBS in Vellore, I got into a diploma in one of the best colleges in my country. I mean, I really loved Vellore. And I got into orthopedics, I got into diploma, I did my MS, I had great teachers, and friends, people who mentored me, taught me a lot, who gave me the foundations. So good were my foundations that I came back to Raxol in 2010. I didn't have a C-arm. And you won't believe it, I did a intertrochanteric fracture with portable X-rays. So, I mean, most of you all won't understand what that means, but I think my orthopedic friends would know. That was the skills that I had gained at CMC. And I also met Blessy in Vellore. We had the same mindset. Unknown to us, she had chosen missions. And I saw this young lady who had given her life to EHA. And she wasn't bothered about her marriage or her future. She had told, I'm going to go to EHA. I'm going to go to missions. And that attracted me to her, and I said, okay. And that's what brought us together, the desire to serve God in North India. And we were married during my PG days. I don't remember much of it, but we got married. And God blessed me with what a person would desire academically. I got my diploma, I got my master's, I got a wife, I got my fellowship in spine surgery. And God just opened doors, I would say. And I believe it's because I sought His kingdom. I know that. I'm not so brilliant that I deserve to do orthopedics in CMC or even to be a doctor. I don't have that much wisdom. But God just opened doors for me, made it smooth for me. I could afford this education. I didn't have to go off and ask my parents for that money. So God blessed me. God blessed me with a lovely family. I think I'll let Blessy share a little more on family. And my daughter, she's in 9th grade in Woodstock. She's an amazing kid, blessing to us, a miracle. Blessy might share about that. Blessy, Stephen also is a miracle in my life, in our lives. And I want to come back to Raxol. You know, this is a bunch of people who worked in Raxol. They worked in Raxol when there was no internet, when there was no flights, when there was no continuous electricity, when there was no water. If any of them, at least the people in the black and white photos, if they developed cholera, they would die. If they developed typhoid, they probably would die because, but forget about MI. MI, they would have definitely died. If any of them had had a heart attack, they would have definitely died. And they were not Indians, mind you. They were all skilled surgeons from Ireland, Scotland, and England. They came to a country from a beautiful, cold land. They came to a country which was sweltering hot. You know, Raxol, you can't survive without AC. Today people complain, oh, I need an AC, it's so hot. It's sweltering hot, it floods, there are snakes, the people are difficult, violence is there. But they came in a time like that. And they are the reason this hospital exists today. This hospital is bang on the Indo-Nepal border. And I want to talk about EHA. EHA is our parent organization. There are 19 hospitals. Most of the hospitals are in places like Raxol or even worse than Raxol. Very few are in bigger cities. And there are hospitals which have tremendous needs like the one I have shared. Like Raxol, all these hospitals are in the Bimaru regions of our country. And these hospitals have nursing colleges, nursing schools, lab schools, community projects, hospitals, which many of you all have visited some of these hospitals. You all are aware of EHA. And I also represent EHA when I talk about the needs that we have. But I'll come back to Bihar. You know, Bihar is actually a beautiful country, you know, a beautiful state. It's lush, it's got beautiful rivers, and it's seeped in history. I was able to go to the Nalanda ruins. And I just walked into this room, which thousands of years ago, a scholar was sitting there studying philosophy. the thought was just baffling to me, because today we see the state in shambles. But thousands of years ago, there were people who traveled to, like we go to Harvard or MIT, people came to this place, and today there is nothing other than ruins. There's nothing left of that excellence that we once had. And today, Bihar is seeped in poverty. Vulnerable people like old people, disabled people, old people, if you develop cancer, if you develop a stroke, it's a death sentence. If you develop renal failure, it's a death sentence. In Raxol, if you develop renal failure, you're going to die, because there's only one dialysis machine in the whole of Raxol. There is numerous children. Each family has 6 to 8 children. Lots of children, malnourished, sickness. There's waterlogging. You have encephalitis, JE, waterborne diseases. Very difficult terrain, poverty, overpopulation. A lot of problems. Third most populated state, the size of Mexico. Our block alone has 2 lakh population, and our district alone we have 38 districts with 534 blocks. So you can do the mental math, the number of people living in this state. Huge maternal mortality, which is still probably underreported. Massive health needs. I can't even begin to talk about the health needs. 15 government colleges, 8 private medical colleges. Most of the doctors are centered in the bigger cities, and a lot of social issues. And we exist in one of the poorest, the bottom-most districts of our country, Purba Champaran. Here's a map, color diagram of IMR, underweight children, low BM adults. Most of them concentrate in the Bimaru belt. We have the maternal mortality and the doctor-patient ratios. Very high doctor-patient ratio in Bihar. The rich poor and the east, rich west and the poor east. And yet all the doctors are concentrated in the blue areas. All the doctors, all the people with abilities to help are in the blue areas. So the question really is, what can I do? There's a lot of misconceptions that it's going to be suffering, my kids will suffer, there's going to be financial issues, it's going to be far from home. And I want to focus on mediocrity in work. People might think that, if you go to a mission hospital, it's because you can't do anything. And the work that happens in mission hospital is not as good as or as on par with the rest of the country. But we see almost 490 patients a day, just 16 doctors, 12,000 admissions, 2,800 deliveries with one OGISHIAN and a few. Dr. Alma is here, she's our OGISHIAN, and she's just joined us, and she takes care of 2,800 deliveries a year and 7,000 plus procedures. And I want to just share a few surgeries that I have done, because it's something that I have done in orthopedics. This was a GCT of the distal radius, which I was able to take out and use a proximal fibula to reconstruct the distal radius. Second metacarpal with the GCT, which I took out and used a third metatarsal from the leg and transplanted it. And this is a spine patient with a huge epidermoid cyst from T11 to L3. I had to do a laminectomy, durotomy, took out the epidural epidermoid tumor. And so this patient had only 5,000 rupees with him. He came from the Bhutan border. And he couldn't go to a neurosurgeon. And so I want to say that there are a lot of complex stuff that happens there, which is not associated with mission hospitals. Flaps, osteochondromas, huge excisions, managing of HIV, autoimmune, neonatal conditions. Blessy is a pediatrician, but she manages a lot of she's also done a PGDMHA, so she does a psychiatric work. Dental, he does implants, prosthetic orthotics, spinal cord rehab. We have a mela to bring together the spinal cord injury patients. A lot of other work. So God blesses us with wisdom, and we are not boxed into silos. I don't do just spine or orthopedics. There's a lot of mixing with other specialities that we do. And there is a lot of joy when I work like this. And my experience as a junior doctor comes in handy when I help out with putting an SPC or helping out with the bladder rupture. And there's a lot of engaging with different people. A lot of your abilities are used. Your, in the Indian word, you would say jugaad. But it's all your abilities to innovate. Understanding poverty and trying to treat people who have nothing. You know that your surgery is going to push them into poverty. How are you going to work with that? And a lot of being the voice for the poor, advocating for the poor, for vulnerable women against domestic violence, trafficking, and so many other areas. that we can speak for. So just to the young people here, take a leap of faith. This man came in the 1930s from Scotland. There was nothing over there. Today I can now take a flight to Ruxall and be there within this day. And there's internet, I have air conditioning, I have continuous electricity, I have water, there's safety. There's no excuse for me to say that I can't do what he did. What he did is like unbelievable. And yet today we have a lot of naysayers, who say that no, can't be done, too difficult. I won't get married, my family won't allow me. I see a lot of young people say this. They come, they watch, they know that yes, I can do this, but they give up. So I just want to leave you all with one decision. Why don't you all take the road less traveled, Why don't you all take something that the world doesn't do? I'll just hand over the time to Blessy.
Okay, good morning. I'll just take only 10 minutes, and this is basically what I'm going to share in the next 10 minutes has got no scientific evidence or any logical reasoning, because what we see there is miracles, just the grace of God. Many times, if you ask me the questions how this happened, I can't say. So because you're stuck with a whirlpool of problems where you end up wondering what next. Like for example, this is the scenario that you have a G9L6A2, absolutely unbooked mother coming to you on irregular ATT, HIV positive, husband abandoned, extreme poverty, emaciated. They would have tried home delivery. You have a preterm pregnancy there, and she's seizing at your doorstep in the middle of the night with a HB of 3. And this is like how, you're a doctor who is stuck. Sometimes you don't have anyone to discuss with apart from yourself. You just have, at that point of time, you really don't know that where do you get the wisdom from. If not for God, none of such cases would have ever been managed. So in Ruxall, we see grace. We just see grace. There is, because there's unimaginable amount of poverty, gender discrimination, caste system, which Prabhu actually has mentioned. And this is one of the poorest places. This is the place called Mushahar district, where people actually eat rats because that's the only easily available stuff. And yes, I want to talk about few miracles, because as I told you, they are like logically, I can't explain it. When it comes to my family life, I have 2 children. Stuti is a miracle. There was a time when medical science said that I would never be able to conceive. And I've taken the treatment in the best of the hospitals, CMC Vellore, multiple IUIs, laparoscopic surgeries, nothing worked out. And there came a time for me to go to Ruxall. And once you go to Ruxall, there is no chance of you having children anymore. I've given up on it, but then I realized when God has blessed me with so many other blessings, why am I sitting and crying over one thing? I said, God, even if you don't give me a child, I would still serve you. It took 3 years for me to say that yes, and the very next 3 days later, I realized that I am conceived. So I can only say that we named her Stuti because of praising God, we have got my daughter. So Stuti is a miracle in our life, reminding that, it doesn't depend upon what you receive from God. But will you be able to serve Him even if things don't work out the way you expect? And Stephen, we have adopted him. We were 1,700 parent in line in adoption, but we thought, why don't we go for children with disabilities, because nobody wants children with disabilities. So when we took him, he had hearing deficit. He is supposed to have hearing deficit. He has squint and hernia. We took him. There's a long story cut short, only to realize that he's absolutely normal child without any disabilities. So when we called up and asked the home what happened, it's like, yes, ma'am, we do check every month. He can't hear. But today my son is absolutely normal. He plays piano. He's the joy of our life. So these are things which I just can't say any reasons. They just God did. And the 2 two girls there in the center, if you could see. They're my foster kids. One is Jannat. Jannat, I found her on the roads of Raxol at the age of 8 years, when she had experienced something which no child should go through. Her mother was killed in front of her eyes. She held the dead body of the mother in her hand. She earned the money and she buried the mother with what she got. And then she was just living on the roads of Raxol all alone. When I found her, I realized that I didn't know where to start the healing process from. I just kept her with me and I prayed for her. I have got a home for her. Today, she's the joy of, she's the joy. She's a worship leader. She wants to be a nurse. God has taken care of her. God has planned even for her. And there comes Kushbu. Kushbu is one more girl I found. She's been trafficked, about to be trafficked, and it took 2 years to rescue her. And today she's happy. She's studying. So these are a few miracles that I can only say, God has a plan for each and every single person that you see. And more miracles. I can just go on and on to tell the stories. I'm sorry, I don't have enough time. There was this boy, the first boy is Lahir. Lahir is one child with encephalitis. I've admitted him for 11 days in the hospital. He had multiple cardiac arrests. I've just given up on him because I could not see any improvement even on day 11 on the ventilator. I said, I'm sorry. I said to the father, I'm sorry, I just can't do. He's not making it. I've even kept the discharge summary ready. I was about to discharge him and it was raining outside. I said, because it is raining, tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock you can go. And the next day morning when I got up, I got a call from ICU, from the nurses to tell me the ABG. And they said, ma'am, this boy, Lahir's ABG is picture perfect. It's all as though when you and I have an ABG taken, how normal. He went home walking. I have no explanation for that. So Lahir is a reminder that, you don't, sometimes you might write off a person, but God will not. If it is His plan to keep him alive, He will do it. And the next one is this little boy wearing a shirt, Apna time aayega. It was his time to experience God's plan. He was a child who came with, he came at the middle of the night. He came at 11 o'clock to me with just abdominal pain. And I did not find anything wrong with him. I just admitted him. The next day morning at 5 o'clock, I got a dream that I'm intubating this child. I realized, there's nothing to, maybe it's the last patient that I saw, that's why I got a dream. But then it was so strong that, I had to go and see him. I went and saw him. He was in the corner of the room because he was kept in among the stable children with just abdominal pain. Everywhere, lights were off. Nurses were in there doing their work. I went straight to his bed, took out his bed sheet just to see that he was gasping. Then I realized what I missed out, that he had an abdominal pain. Maybe it is a snake bite, which by morning he was gasping. I actually literally intubated him and I could save him. It was literally as if God was actually waking you and bless you, go and see that child. And the next one is this little baby. I have written this blog and I'm sure many of you would have read that. This is a newborn baby. It's 4 o'clock in the morning this last December. It was chill cold in the morning time. At 4 o'clock, I wake up with I don't know why I got up at 4 o'clock. I just woke up and the weirdest thing that I have done was went and read about neonatal SVT. 1 in 25,000 babies get it, and I've never dealt with a neonatal SVT. I read it, I took the screenshot of the management, and then I slept. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I get a call from my junior doctor. There's a baby with poor feeding and lethargy. I thought it's just sepsis. I just admitted. When I went for rounds, I saw the rhythm. It was 270 heart rate for a newborn, exactly the same condition that I read about. And I could manage. And I didn't have to struggle treating her. It was like, I was wondering, a 7-day baby in that dark corner of the country when nobody is bothered. God is actually bothered. At 4 o'clock in the morning, He reminded me. At 8 o'clock, He reminded me. At 10 o'clock in the OPD, He reminded me. He is after that little baby. We think we are the only people on this earth and we are so concerned about our small worlds, but our God is the God who is concerned about every single life. And yeah, I could go on and on. There's the center, you can see that girl. It's a child with myasthenia gravis, in myasthenia crisis. And she had only 2,000 rupees and she was gasping. Father was not willing, allowing me to intubate. Neither was he getting the IVIG, which would cost 80,000, because only he has was 2,000. And I was stuck with the child. He is not letting me do anything. I don't want her to die. And I just gave her methylprednisolone, something which might work, might not work, sometimes even worsen the situation. For 3 days, absolutely no improvement. I just went to tell the father in the morning, I'm going to send your child away. There I went, she's there sitting up, absolutely breathing without any support. And these are the, I'm just running out of time. That's why I'm just sharing few things. So these are the two babies who were abandoned by the father, never wanting to see the girls because it is girl children. Left in the hospital, I kept them for 9 months, wondering every day, what is God's plan? Why did they even come into this world when nobody wants them? And today they're in the hands of a wonderful family who loves them and who cares for them. They are Aradhana and Pradhana, I named them. And God blesses you with skills that are beyond, out of what you can actually do. God blessed me with the skills of doing psychiatry, because there is no psychiatrist for the next 27 districts there. And these are all the people that you could see found on the roads begging, like mad people. They're like people with psychosis on the roads. Most of them we were able to reunite with their families. And these are the street children that we are able to teach them. So at the end of this, yes, these are just a gist of what we see in a daily life. Miracles and miracles without any explanations and logical reasoning, because mission hospitals run on grace of God. Because God doesn't, many times you might say, I'm not equipped, I'm not skilled, I'm not the best, but God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And God doesn't want anything from us, He just wants us. So if you respond to His call, He can use you in ways that you can't even imagine how beautifully He can use you, and you can be a blessing for many. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessy, for that moving sharing, as well as Prabhu for what you shared. We have about 8 minutes for question answers. Anybody wants to ask, you're welcome. Anybody? We also have Dr. Blesso and Alma. Would you just stand up? Dr. Blesso is an orthopedic surgeon who's assisting Dr. Prabhu, and Dr. Alma is the only gynecologist of the Duncan Hospital, Roxall, currently. And we were blessed. Thank you so much for joining us. They have come for one of their junior doctor's wedding. That's why they both were compelled to come and attend. So that's how Jobin was the great support. He could just hold the fort. And thank you, Dr. Vinu, Dr. Joji, and Subin, all of you, allowing Jobin to go and hold the fort. Yeah. Any thoughts, any questions from the students, faculty, please? I just asked Dr. Joji or Abraham. These people have been there in Roxall, as well as anybody else who have been there to say a few words. While you think of questions, we have about 8 minutes, just a minute.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for... I'm very happy to be here, because after many years, after a few years back, I was with Prabhu and Blessy in Duncan. I had got a good opportunity to be there and help out in the challenging situation which Prabhu and Blessy had just said. Just a picture of what has actually happened there. But actually, when I was there for around 3 months, I realized that this is an ocean of patients here, and it's like it's a very challenging situation. And definitely, Prabhu and Blessy is a good example for us all. And I really happy to meet them here again and to reconnect with them. And I hope some of us try to take home the message of the road less traveled, when many of us tend to take the majority road. And I feel that they have set an example in their lives, and I hope many of us try to take that too. Thank you.
Dr. Deepak and Dr. Anjali were there last year. You just say a word, one of you or two, both of you.
We too had a very awesome experience there. Actually, we were impressed by their selfless service there. So we got to see a different side of healthcare. As Dr. Prabhu said, bounty number of patients who had come there, all real sick. And we had some good time together with their families. And the students also had a good experience, which they lack here. So I would even like to go and work there anytime when I get a time. I was so impressed.
Actually, when I went there, I was very stunned. When we get a case of preeclampsia or HELP syndrome here, I mean, we have a support system, we have anesthetists, we have a senior madams, we diagnose it very early, we terminate the pregnancy as soon as possible. But they don't have an NICU facility. This pediatrician is supporting all the neonatologists. So even if the lady has preeclampsia, impending eclampsia, or a HELP syndrome, they actually they have to both take care of the mother and the baby. So one lady was lying there with HELP syndrome. The OTPT was in 300s, but the gestational age was only 32 weeks. So I was like, why are you not terminating this pregnancy? Obviously, this has to be terminated right now. Then the pediatrician and the gynecologist over there said, see, both are important. Even one day is very, very significant for the neonatologist. So I would like to wait for one more day, give the steroids to the baby, let the lungs mature, then take out the baby. So both mother and the baby will be benefited. Both will live. I was so shocked. I couldn't even imagine that they are going to wait one more day. Both the mother and the baby went home fine. Everything was okay. It was like an eye-opener for me. And when we go there, when we practice here, we see HELP, all this, any patient you see, you tend to send a lot of investigations. And you get you have a CT option, you have an MRI option, you have scans. So whatever you need, everything is there. They, with the simple CBC itself and with their clinical sense, they'll just look at the patient and tell you, yes, this is the condition and this is how you're going to manage her. And that was another eye-opener for me. I was so impressed with them. Like, it is not the audition. And another thing is that this sick patients, like Dr. Blessy said, G9 with seizure, anemia, everything. This patient will be admitted in the ICU. What we practice here is that only the clinician or the department which is responsible will be in the ICU. It is not like that. It is a team effort there. You don't have to call the anesthetist. You don't have to call the orthopedician. You don't have to call the other specialty. They will be there with you in the ICU. That was another eye-opener. It is so, so good. The teamwork is so good. You just don't have to call them. They will be there with you. That was another very, very great experience for me. Like hats off to them, how they are working. It was so good. Even with a simple CRP, ESR, they will tell you the diagnosis. And with a ruptured ectopic, that was another case, ruptured ectopic. HB was 3 or 5, I don't exactly remember. You won't get a blood for the next 4 hours. You will get a blood, and that too only whole blood. You are not getting a PRBC. And with that, they are managing the case. Every patient will go home fine. That was like unimaginable for me. Here, the patient comes within 5 minutes, she will be in the OT. With another 10 minutes, you will get the blood. It is like that. That is how we manage here. But still, they are managing with all these things. And there were times where there were no gynecologists there. Still, they managed. Still, they had like 400 to 500 deliveries in a month. That is very, very impressive. That is all that I would say.
Thank you, Anjali, for that heartfelt sharing. So before I hand over, we have a 2-minute small function, which Dr. Joji will lead, but Achan wanted to just say one word before he hand over to Joji.
You must be thinking what I'm connected with Rexall. Rexall Duncan. I have been hearing this name for the last 41 years. When I married my wife in 1984, day and night she will only say about a hospital, mission hospital, Duncan. I didn't know which. I was in Air Force, but I didn't know this. There is a world like this. She used to say, പുള്ളിക്കാരത്തി ജനറൽ നഴ്സിംഗ് പഠിച്ച് പാസ്സായത് 1982 ഇവിടുന്ന്. അവിടുന്ന് then she got അവിടുന്ന് she got a job in Jipmar. That time I got her married. Then after that she got a job in AIMS Delhi, 28 years in charge of Neuro ICU. Government of India, otherwise President of India, recognized her the Best Nurse Award in 2009. Why? You, Rexall, Duncan. Now I know why people are worried about this Kochamma, why people are after her. But this is a hospital. പറയുന്നതെല്ലാം കറക്റ്റാണ്. When there was no electricity, she told me one story that, and then I will stop. Patnയിൽ അവളുടെ sisters were staying. From there she got to study there. ഒരു ദിവസം അവളെ അവിടെ തിരിച്ചു വിടുന്നത് steam boat was there. There was no bridge, you remember? Steam boatil ഇരുത്തിയിട്ട് ഒരു ബ്ലാങ്കറ്റ് വെച്ച് പുതപ്പിക്കും. Because others, you said about rascals and all, they will be in the boat. കവർ ചെയ്ത് വിടും ബ്ലാങ്കറ്റിൽ. ഇതൊരു ലേഡിയാണെന്ന് ഐഡൻറ്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യാതെ ഇങ്ങനെ തല കമത്തിരുന്നോളാൻ പറയും 4 മണിക്കൂർ, 4 hours. I heard that was the journey she had to undergo. Every year 3 വർഷം തിരിച്ചു പോകുന്ന അങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു. She survived. അതാണ് എൻ്റെ വൈഫ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി എന്താണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ട്രെയിനിങ്, എന്താണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട്, why she is better than many of us. Thank you for sharing us. Once in our life we will come and see what's it again. That's our ambition. Thank you.
Achin is planning to come as SHP faculty with our next batch of students. He's already booked his place. We're just wondering the right time. So thank you all for coming. But just sit for 2 minutes. We have a small program which Dr. Joji will lead. And then after that, we will split. But I just want to say thank you to Blessy and Prabhu. Yes, over to you, Joji. He was also the SHP faculty to Roxall.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I'm not taking too much time. Just wanted to let you know that each one of you sitting here will be having some sort of experiences and miracles from Duncan Hospital. And all I just want to say is go and see yourself to see those miracles. And the bond between believers and Duncan has started right from the beginning, from 2014 itself, because I'm happy to say that I was the first faculty who was sent from believers for the mission posting to Roberts Ganj Hospital as well as Duncan Hospital. And so from that time onwards, the bond has been continuing. Just wanted to share one happy news that we have started. I don't know how many people know that we have started the diploma for hotel management and catering services in Believers. So, and we have students who have come from all the way from Manipur and Punjab to study here, and we have our first batch who is getting out, 7 girl students, and they have just come out with flying colors, with distinction. And another thing is that our Christian Medical Association of India, CMAI courses, our diploma in medical lab technology, 2 of our students have scored national first as well as 3rd rank from Believers itself. So I just wanted to share the happy news, and I request Prabhu sir and Blessy ma'am to come and give the appreciation certificates to those 9 students. I would call upon Ansi Ben ma'am, Joe sir and Susan to come forward and call upon the names of those students, and they can come and receive the certificates from sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all the Believers Academy of Allied Health Sciences, including Riju sir and every faculty of BAS who have made this. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So this is a great privilege for me to stand in front of you to congratulate my students. Ms. Megha Reggie got the first rank with 87.8% in All India level from Laboratory Training Committee, CMI. And Miss Honey Thomas, third rank with 84.7%. And Miss Megha Reggie got 5,000 rupees as a reward from the CMI LTC. And Honey Thomas, third rank holder, got 2,000 rupees as a reward from CMI. Thank you.
Next one is for the Hotel Management 1-year diploma course. Everybody got a distinction except one. The first one is Nelly Thanu. Please come forward and take the certificates. Second one is Gaichu Amei. Next, Raipona Regina. Next, Matthew Kamei. Manpreet Kaur. Sunina Peter. And Victoria. Out of these 7, 5 of them are from Manipur and 2 are from Punjab. All are out of Kerala.